but a Rumble ban to start with.
I think Imanjo's going to try to play Lulu again for sure, but as far as bans, Evelynn has got to be banned. Blitzcrank most likely banned. From there, we might see a Shen because it does seem like Team TowerDive like that a lot, but they're really taking their time with that last ban, letting the clock go down all the way to 0. Aurelia and Eve. Wow. So GGU knows what they want. They're just spamming the click button right the entire time as they're trying to get their bans back.
So Aurelia being taken away. So Zion Spartan top lane, keeping that away from him. Do you think they're going to go for Nidalee?
They could go for anything, in all honesty. They could go Elise, right? They have the dual class
We've
Elise.
seen Elise in pretty much most of the games so far, yeah.
Elise is going to be seen in a lot of the games. Even last night in the OGN, we saw Elise supporting as well. So
Support
Elise was twice in that 5-game set.
I have never seen that, that's for sure.
Pretty aggressive in the 1v2 lanes.
Versatility of the game. The fact that these teams can pull things out. Most teams, if you're just selected down in solo queue, they'll be like, that's it, I'm leaving.
It's probably what's still happening, to be fair.
But these top teams, well, there you go. Kha'Zix being banned out and Blitzcrank. We kind of expected it. GGU just watched TDT playing against Epic. We saw Wedge Strikes on Kha'Zix. Didn't quite work out for him. And Rise, the final ban. Wow, insta-lock, Shen.
That was one of those things that we thought would be banned. GGU obviously sees a lot of strength for it.
We've just seen Misfortune for TDT. Do we get a Mumu Misfortune?
That would be the combo, right? That's what so many people have been running towards. MF by herself doesn't seem to be quite as potent, but the bullet time, especially with how much AD is available now. If you get 300 attack damage on Misfortune, your ultimate does 2,000 damage over 2 seconds. Mumu's ultimate locks people in place for 2 seconds.
Put an assassin on top of that, you're in trouble. And speaking of assassins, we haven't really seen an assassin mid yet. Despite the fact that in all the games, all the solo queue, everything we've been seeing, everything that's built up towards it, we're expecting to see all these top assassins now in mid, still being the AP champions.
One of those things, you know, like I feel like it's on the way of moving in, but that's a lot of it in solo queue and a lot of perception. So many of these guys, though, like especially for the teams that have been together for a while, have their practice set of champions, and you can't just pick up a whole new roster of 5 or 6 assassins and bruisers just like that. A lot of them picked up Kha'Zix, to be fair, but Kha'Zix is getting banned all the time, so that's not really added to their repertoire yet.
It's because he's OP.
A little bit.
A little bit. I can tell you now, if this was Alex Ich, he'd be playing it.
Yeah, he will be.
Only plays OP champs. But you can see a couple more champs getting selected. It was Vlad they went for, which means Katarina and Nunu have now been picked up. Katarina, that's a champion that's been banned in the last 2 games we've covered. Strong champ.
And Team TowerDive had Draven banned from them in the previous game, and if they pick Lulu as well, they'd be stealing it away from Imanjo, who just mains the crap out of Lulu. So those would be really smart picks for Team TowerDive, and we get to see Draven.
Question is that going to be a Vladimir in mid or top? Oh, Twitch. Wow, Twitch locked in. Wow.
No messing
GGU
around.
know exactly what they want.
And that almost had nothing to do with the picks. Like,
that's a top lane Katarina, Zion Spartan.
Yep, that's got to be it. So Karthus mid, Nunu support, obviously. They had that locked in for a while. Thinking back, the Lulu pick wouldn't have been a counter pick because they'd already had Shen and Nunu. So they decided that they were going support Nunu, not support Lulu. And for the last pick here, this is when we're going to find out whether Vladimir goes top lane or mid lane. And this would give them a window, especially if they want something locked up. Like a mid Jarvan or something, but no. Double AP. If TF's mid, they're just going with the old standard.
The old standard. Will it be TF being locked in? TF versus... Lee Sin being switched across. It could be Lee Sin mid. That is very viable.
Could be
in fact, to the point that I've seen a lot of Amumu's top lately.
You've seen a lot of Amumu's top.
Yeah.
What
AP
elo are you
Amumu's.
playing in?
Lower than yours, that's for sure.
I haven't seen that. I don't think we're going to see that in competitive.
I don't think we're going to see that in competitive. But Singed was the final pick, so it's going to be Singed in top versus Katarina.
So, all right, let's see how this ends up going. That's a tough matchup for Singed, I think. Katarina is going to be able to get a lot of farm, Singed, and she'll be able to clear waves. Maybe it won't be as tough now that I think about it. But overall team comps, I'd have to say I like the initiative that Team TowerDive is putting in there. Amumu comboed with Lulu is quite strong. They got their comfort 80 carry for Kisuke on Draven. Across the board for GGU. Don't Mash Me tried to play Twitch in the North American Regionals. He just tried to play Twitch a lot frequently. When they combo that with Karthus' AoE, it should be good. They lack a bit in CC though, so they're really going to have to fight almost when Team TowerDive wants to fight, which could be a bit tricky.
It does surprise me they didn't go for anything assassin-y. The fact that They have the Twitch, they have the Karthus. These are two very quick, easy, poppable champions.
It's going to be tough for them. In all honesty, the Assassin should have happened, but maybe, you know, maybe Cybolic hasn't practiced in as many Assassins, right? These guys have not been together for very long. True. They didn't even know until a week ago if they'd qualify for this tournament. It's a tough thing to pick up all those Assassins and play them at the competitive level, and especially when the pressure's on the line. You fall back so much onto what you know, and it's been such a new evolution in the game to have the Assassins and the Bruisers mid. These guys might just not be ready to pull it out yet.
And there is a heck of a lot of pressure on the line, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the final group game. This is North American Season 3 qualifiers. If this team get through, they'll make it through to day 2, but one of these will be going home in around about an hour's time, and that will be all over for those guys, and you do not want to be that team. That is for damn sure, Jat. So we are going to get underway, ladies and gentlemen. We are live here in Los Angeles. Everything will be covered today. Do not fear, you have not missed a single game. We're going to have 2 streams running throughout the day, but today it is all about Stream 1 right now. It is Good Game University, formerly as Team Dynamic. They are the blue team, and Team TowerDiveTV as the red team, Jat. Team comp set aside, will we see any level 1 fight?
So Team TowerDive has not decided to do any level 1s, and GGU as the favorites, really, of this game, looking to be very conservative so far.
So here we go. You can see Zevez sat around the side there, or Xev, I should say. Xev.
Had to ask all these guys last night, how do you want your name said? Because they got Z's and X's before everything.
He didn't even know.
He's like, I haven't decided yet. You better decide right now.
You're going to make us look foolish. You better get your name right now. But as it stands, the ward goes down in that river. So that's not a standard level 1 ward.
Nope, that is definitely not. It's almost like they thought an invade might be coming through from that brush, so they warded it just to be sure. And, you know, to be even more sure, Team TowerDive puts one in the exact same brush. I'd almost say those are 2 fairly wasted wards.
But is that a scouted? Is that a simple case of they scouted the opposition, they knew something was probably going to come? If they're going to come across, that's the route they take.
That's got to be the reasoning behind that, right? Like, they never place a ward without thinking about it. It's got to be because they were thinking of an invade, or if they warded the brush, they thought, well, maybe they warded that brush so they could all go into it, so they had to counter ward.
Well, we are seeing sets up here. It is going to be a lane switch as well, so how is that going to work out in favor of whoever?
Well, we'll see Nunu and Twitch against Singed. It's going to be really tough for Yurik up top, I'd have to say. Twitch and Nunu can go very all-in, and you don't have to worry about going all-in if you're only against 1 member, so that could be very strong for GGU. Katarina, actually not that bad in 1v2. You'd be surprised, considering she's a melee champion. She has a lot of wave clear and ability to farm from range with her Q, so I'd say deciding to do a lane swap is good for GGU.
So we're seeing a definite difference from game 1 here. Xev did take the blue buff. He is planning on taking the rest of his jungle by the looks of it. He's not going to be completely babysit that top lane because obviously the 2 members up there, they've just walked straight past that ward. They're going for the red buff here, chat.
And this is one of the things they can do against an Amumu who's very vulnerable in the jungle. They're going right for it, but even though they have 4 members on this side of the map, Team TowerDive collapsing faster.
Collapsing round, because that ward, they completely knew what was happening, forced the flash away from Ayamanjo, and they do completely beat them away. They got the ward in the red bush though.
We'll see if they can continue to harass onto Xev here. They have 4 members on this side of the map. If they want to shove up lanes and go, they can go. He's got to smite it.
Oh.
He
got it. No, couldn't quite see it, but Xev does manage to keep it, and that was pretty much basic attack versus basic attack.
That was really strange because Nintendo has his smite. Xev used smite before the red buff was down, but he must have lost the model somewhere, or the ward was around a corner and he couldn't see it.
Did he?
Really good by Xev to get that red.
Did he smite the small minion?
Yeah, I think he did.
I think he did. I'm not going to go out on a limb here, but I think maybe that's something we're checking a replay, but I think he smited the small minion. I think that's what he went in and went, whoop, ah. Maybe.
I think he got it.
Nevertheless, Xev is up this top lane, and well, it's exactly what we saw in game 1, isn't it? We saw him babysitting that top lane. Yurik is going to need a little bit of hand-holding here. And you can see they're trying to catch on towards Don't Mash Me, but not going to be able to do a lot about it this one. Have a look down the bottom here. You can see the damage coming on towards the turret. Draven is going to get a lot of poke on towards Zion Spartan here.
It's going to be really tough. Draven, an extremely aggressive laner. They might be able to punish a little bit with Shen here if they continue to push up. So often you see teams trying to help their 1v2 laner more and more, but there's no crowd control follow-up from Zion Spartan in this lane. And I actually went back and checked. The Amumu XEV did wait until the right moment to smite, and he just beat out Nintendo X with it.
So a battle of smites. I thought there must be something in there. Oh, they're going to dive on towards Keisuke. Keisuke in all sorts of trouble. He ignites down. Then, well, you can see Zion Spartan. They bought. Oh, perfect long-range taunt from Nintendo Dex there. And now they may turn it on to Koso as well. Is it enough to tower dive? I don't think it isn't. They're going to back away, but he's got to be careful. Nintendo Dex's taunt will be back up in a moment. Meanwhile, at the top here, they're just clearing wave after wave. And, well, first blood.
Could have been a nerve reaction thing a lot of times. That was a flash taunt by Nintendo X. And
they're
then
diving.
Keisuke died with his flash still up. So because of that, they're able to push the pressure back through, completely deny Koso off the turret, and really give Zion Spartan an edge in that 1v2 lane.
And it was perfect timing because it was just the right time that Koso went to place that ward in the tri-bush.
They had just good, I'd almost say senses, because they had no wards around there and they just ganked at the right moment.
So what sort of pressure does that put you in? The fact you've just lost that first blood, you're 1-0 down against a team that is perceived by the whole community, as well as us, as to be a better team.
Even after coming off the game against Epic, it makes it really tough. They didn't come into this game with any kind of gimmicks or anything. They think, they use that first gimmick on the game against Fear with a 2-man top lane. And it really means they just have to take a step back and refocus, because so many times you start tilting after something like that, it's going to be really tough for them.
Okay, we can see the item difference between the two junglers as well. So you can see Mumu just gone back. He's bought, while Shen's just been back. He's bought. He's going up towards the Wriggles, I guess. Which way would you normally go? Bearing in mind you are a jungler.
As Shen?
Yeah.
All the Shens go.
Shen or Amumu.
All the Shens go Madred's Razors, and Mumu's generally go Spirit Stone. These are the standard builds. Mumu needs the health and mana regeneration from that Spirit Stone to go, whereas Shen doesn't clear the jungle that fast. Single targets, going right for the Razor. And see Mumu going up top to hold, but Shen going bottom to probably gank.
This top lane is taking a hell of a lot of damage. You can see Don't Mash Me just burning it down there. XF does return, tries to clear that wave as quick as he can. Got to make sure he gets the 40 gold off that Siege minion. Meanwhile, down the bottom, you can also see that Nintendo Dex back with his old team buddy. New team buddy as well. They've been together a long time, these two team players. So it's expecting for him to sit and hold that lane. But honestly, Zion Spartan is pushing this lane.
Nintendo Dex with this team, kind of the on and off and on again relationship. He was once removed from Team Dynamic. Then they did poorly without him. Then they brought him back. Then they had a few other roster changes with Zig and Pixel having to leave. But Zion Spartan and Nintendo Dex are the two here kind of from the start now on Good Game University.
Continuing to just keep the CS up, no problem whatsoever. You mentioned it at the start, but 34-18 up that top lane. Top lane turret very low already. Meanwhile, in this bottom, we haven't had a chance to talk about these two guys. It is going to be Shifter on Karthus versus Cybolic on Vladimir.
We'll see how Shifter does here, because GGU's manager and the entire team was so enthusiastic about how good he would be. They could not believe he wasn't on a team when they were looking for a mid player, because he plays everything and they say he plays it very, very well. Whereas Cybolic, he was the one name I definitely recognized from the Team TowerDive roster, but at the same time, he also hasn't been on that many teams before. And this matchup already being a little bit outfarmed by Karthus, he should be able to aggress a bit on Karthus early, and he hasn't been able to do that thus far.
And I've got a bone to pick to them, because all the team were calling him Shifter yesterday, and yet it's clearly Shifter, because that's a PH.
We'll have to...
But that's what the team called him as well, Shifter.
Shifter.
Shifter. They were calling him in the interview, so I guess that's the name they've been going with. As it is, Don't Mash Me continues to pressure this turret, and there it goes. First turret down, 8 minutes into the game. The question is, how are they going to turn? Are they going to push down towards the bottom? Are they going to pressure on? Can they get in but this red buff before XF going to take it away just in time? And then Bandage tosses, and I think Amjo was just going, whoop, hey, there he goes.
Yeah, well, I guess his blue is gone, and they're just going to roam straight towards mid lane. Now that they took that early turret so quickly, should be able to just take him down.
And we just caught a flash there from Keisuke down in that bottom lane. Nintendo Dex didn't quite catch his man this time around, but as you see, Zion Spartan continuing to pick up all of the gold down there. Once he gets that Haunted Guys out, he's like, yep, my item build's complete.
And if you have bones to pick about name pronunciation, Keisuke, Team TowerDive's Draven. ZXK, it's just, you just gotta say Keisuke, and that's about all you can do.
It's a mess of a name. And it is Keisuke, and he is on Draven. Unfortunately, at the moment, he is struggling up. We are seeing the teams grouping up here, so potential for Dragon Jet.
And there is the potential for that, but it's pretty early. They don't want to team fight against Amumu and let them get back into this. They're winning. GGU is winning the lanes so hard right now. They're not going to go for any Dragon. If someone's going to have to initiate the Dragon, it's going to be Team TowerDive. But they're going to be gun-shy from that because the first game against Fear, they also had to do that, and that was pretty much the moment they lost.
Interesting choice from GGU there. They pushed the lane on a little bit, but they've actually chose to go back up the top lane. So they're thinking, okay, Zion Spartan, you're actually doing fine down the bottom in this 2v1. You're actually doing okay, so we may as well just go up and completely pressure Yurik.
That's exactly what they're doing there. They're probably going to lose this turret down bottom, though, with Zion Spartan thinking about going back. Keisuke and Zion Spartan. Here comes the Channel. They're actually going big.
Stan United comes in, as does the Requiem. They're going to catch up towards Keisuke. Keisuke just plopped where he stands. Zion Spartan was there. And, well, again, the exact same moment Kosu went up towards the top there to place that one. The Tribush was simply a spectator.
And that's exactly what they had planned. They said, because they could have swapped that for Twitch and Nunu to go bottom, but they knew that Nintendo had his ult up, and that's something they probably planned minutes in advance before that gank. They saw the window, they went for it, because we knew Keisuke wanted to finish off that bottom turret, and they completely punished him for that line of thinking.
Wow, so that is the second turret of the game going down. Good Game University in full control of this match now. And now we can see the mid lane. Oh, Shifter just avoiding the damage. They did a fantastic job of catching the wall of pain there. He's going to try and keep pressure on towards Cybolic. Zeves, X-Zev, get his name right eventually. He's keeping the pressure, but that mid turret is actually taking a lot of damage.
So across the board, bottom and top, their turrets are a little bit low. They flash to go in. They're trying to get Zion Spartan. They just don't have the closing potential. Amumu and Vlad are coming around, though.
Amumu and Vlad are closing in from the top there. XF has to land a perfect bandage toss, though. Good taunt there, and well, actually, he's just going to bait them back. Oh, look at him go! The question is, can he catch up? You can see, meanwhile, in the mid, they're losing the turret. There's a three-man push in the mid. They're just piling through. They've managed to get the Ignite down. Yurik should be able to take Zion Spartan down, but they've delayed them long enough that they may lose the mid turret. One kill for a mid turret, definitely not worth it.
Yeah, this is where everyone on GGU types worth in chat and then runs away because the amount of distraction, all 5 members of Team TowerDive were down there just to get Zion Spartan. One kill, you know, not much. If they can turn a Dragon off of this, it'll be at least a little bit more respectable. And the mid turret, interesting, was left with 100 health, so until that turret falls, it was actually okay.
It was actually okay, and it is going to be Team TowerDive picking up the first Dragon of the game. 12 minutes gone. There we go, first one down. So let's have a look across the board, have a look across the lanes. You can see Draven 82 to 88 CS, so pretty much even between the two AD carries, despite the fact he's 0-0 though. And you can see the gold advantage, 200 gold slightly to GGU. Across the board though, GGU definitely with the advantages.
I gotta say though, if you pick Draven and you don't roll over your lane, you didn't get the maximum potential out of Draven. He is so strong in that early laning phase. And to trade, essentially, with Don't Mash Me's Twitch is going to be trouble once the teamfight phase breaks out, because Draven in teamfights isn't chop meat, but Twitch in teamfights is amazing with that Spray and Pray ultimate.
Yeah, and he's going to have the defensive cover, of course. I Am Andrew's just going to sit on his backside. Anyone goes near him, absolute zero. Goes off, Nintendo Dex going to get the taunt out. Now they're going to try and steal the blue buff away. You can see Twitch was pushing the lane just off the side. XF is going to come in. He wants to try and smite this away. They both have it. Actually, no, XF doesn't have it yet. He's just delayed it. Nice tactic.
There's a pink ward in the brush that GGU would be able to clean out, giving them a little bit more supremacy over this spot. All 5 members of both teams starting to close in. Karthus getting pinged down. We could very well see a fight here because the positioning is just awkward.
Yeah, they are all split a little bit. Don't Mash Me catching on towards I Am Andrew. Now you can see Yurik actually going in towards Don't Mash Me. He's popped his ultimate. He's going to go in, put the glue down, going to get the flip off. You can see the rest of the team coming in. But Don't Mash Me and Zion Spartan also there. Here comes the Karthus Requiem. Is it going to be enough? Comes the back, taking down very low. Nintendo Dex now going to get on towards them. I Am Andrew, absolute zero out of the bush there. The Vladimir ultimate is not going to be enough as well. XF taking very low. Nintendo trying to finish them off. Meanwhile, at the top of the lane, you can see XF just going to get dropped down the bottom there. Zion Spartan trying his best. Is it enough? The Ignite running on Draven. No, he's going to get away. Zion Spartan, one more hit from Cybolic would have been enough now. Nintendo Dex, could he get a full length taunt on towards Cybolic? Oh. A flash taunt! That's where it is. And Zion Spartan very careful, making sure he doesn't get caught out. The blood pool comes out. Zion Spartan picks up the kill. Nicely done. And wow, an extended map fight there, but it came out in GGU's favor.
3-4-1, really, don't match me. Presenting himself as a target, and the rest of GGU just damage everywhere on their team. You think of Karthus and Katarina, you think damage, and then you add on Twitch, he's also just kind of a damage AD carry. So even though Team TowerDive got Don't Mash Me out of the fight early, it didn't matter because everyone else from GGU rolled up and took advantage of the awkward positioning TowerDive had put themselves in.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates and a lot of summoner spells burnt there fairly early on in the fight. GGU just took full advantage, and well, Don't Mash Me now with that Bloodthirster, he's just going to clean out a huge wave at the top, which honestly is just as good as getting the kill.
It's got to feel good for Twitch, especially since he's picked up that Bloodthirster, getting the early stacks on it. Already got 15 stacks coming in on that Bloodthirster, so well on his way to doing huge amounts of damage on Twitch. You can also see Kisuke getting that red buff, but even with that, 0-2 versus 1-1, Draven looking a little weak.
Man, that Draven is a lot of work in that micro when you're fighting the red there, instead of just standing there fighting. You're running around chasing
It's a mini game in
blades.
itself.
So, GGU, they have the advantage. It's a 3k gold lead, but is it going to be enough to secure victory here? Of course, this is Season 3. This is the qualifiers. And one of these teams, whoever loses, is going to be out of the tournament, going home, packing with very much sad faces. And honestly, it's a ton of pressure for both these teams.
More pressure, I'd say, is on GGU. People don't expect Team TowerDive to make it through, but most people, especially GGU, expect themselves to make it through. And just out of the group stage is only going to narrow it down to 8, where tomorrow they'd play for their spot to get in. But looking good thus far, 4,000 gold lead, just sweeping the outer ring of turrets, controlling the dragons. We'll really see if they can continue to hold this lead.
Zion Spartan cleaning out the waves. Of course, Dragon not available for another few moments, which is why they're pinging up the mid. And they seem really just happy to delay the game out a little bit here. They don't want to go pushing. Looks like they don't want to push the lanes too far. They don't want to go too aggressive. It's just a case of farming out what's available.
It's a matter of them taking it slow, in all honesty. They think they have it. Nunu Twitch, Katarina Karthus, they just feel like that scales better than the wombo combo AoE that Team TowerDive has. They can just keep their team fights spread out. If Shifter can stay ahead of the rest of the team in team fights, they should be okay. So they've been winning lanes really this entire time. They just got to continue to win lanes, and the team fight wins will come to them.
So we do see Zion Spartan continue to push on the top lane. He has got good ward coverage, so if they do try and collapse across, you can see Urek trying to get the poison trail near him, but he's not having any of it. He's catching out nicely. Meanwhile, the mid lane, there's pressure coming up there. The top lane, Nintendo continuing to push as well. And there's Don't Mash Me and Anjo following through. He's got Shifter just following through. And they are surely going to slowly but surely collapse on this. Zion Spartan's kept 2 members busy on the bottom.
And even Nintendo X is soloing up as a jungler because of the early kills he was able to get, keeping the pressure there. This is incredibly difficult for Team TowerDive to keep track of. Something's got to give pretty soon here because this pressure's going through.
There it is. It could be Kosamak. Kosamak trying to get away from there. Has to use the Lulim ultimate to back away. So that's one ulti burnt already. They're backing away. Meanwhile, you can see the combo going up towards the top. Urek gets the flip on towards Zion Spartan. He takes a couple of tower hits as well. The ignite could be enough damage. One more poison trail. The flash through, and he just survives. Meanwhile, at the top lane, they're burning that turret down. They've got the combine. Zion Spartan trying to dodge. XO has to use his ultimate, but that's 3 ultimates I feel burnt there just to keep it away, and they're going to pick up this top turret. Is it enough? Can they keep it off? They're tanking it up. Don't Mash Me picks it up.
And they won't be able to chase this down, I don't think. They get the Vladimir out, but Mash Me should be all right. And that was just a matter of their pressure taking over across the map. Something had to give, and it turned out it was the 2nd tier top turret.
So definitely not worth it. 1 kill of Zion Spartan, who kept 3 members of the team busy while they took the top turret. They are going to get the bottom turret. The siege minions should take care of that one. They are maybe going to turn this into a dragon as well.
Except trying to get this down, and this is a dragon for sure for them, and a turret in all honesty. So you get the gold from the turret, you get the gold from the dragon. They're pretty much just going to have to avoid it until they have their ultimates up before they fight again. But you look at the gold, and even though we've been talking like GGU's been in total control, Gold speaks otherwise.
The gold does speak otherwise. It's still very close, just 2,000 between the two, but it is 4-1 in turrets, and turrets win games. Gold count helps, but turrets going down helps even more. We've seen it so often from the Korean teams. They've led the charge with simply dropping turrets left, right, and center. Within 10 minutes of the game, they can be across the board, and that gives them a huge map control. The top inner turret being down already is huge.
And you look even at the red jungle of Team TowerDive, there's already a couple GGU wards in there. The blue buff just spawned for TDT, but that's probably good games, blue buff for themselves. They see the Draven stuck up top. They're just going to go ahead and take this for themselves. So because they have the turret advantage, there's no way that Team TowerDive can get a hold of any of their objectives. So even if you're close in gold, it doesn't matter if you don't have access to fights.
And Nintendo just working damage on towards that bottom turret. The bottom turret already down to half. XF now getting pressured as well. Anjo pushing on. Don't Match Me taking the turret damage. That's less than ideal. So they're not going to get too much damage. XF's got to be careful. Doesn't want to come back into this one. Meanwhile, the battle continues on the bottom lane as well. They're going back and forward. It's Nintendo next now, acting almost like a top laner, basically. He's just got, like you say, so strong early on. That Sunfire Cape in there, he's just keeping them busy. And again, it's down to Twitch with the Blood Boil just ripping through this turret.
And he's really, Nintendo has transitioned himself into a top lane build. He has 500 more gold than Yurik Mizuno on Singe. So he is stronger than Team TowerDive's top laner, allowing him to do that, which means as well that Zion Spartan just gets to be like a farming AP mid Katarina. You don't need to worry about your top lane duties, and they get even more presence when they're with 4.
Don't Match Me also taking away the red buff there, so it's just taking everything away from Team TowerDive right now. They have to really pull something special off. And look at that, Nintendo just taunting him there, Yurik. It's just like, I am not going anywhere, I'm going to stay in this lane. And like you mentioned, it's effectively like they've got a new top laner and a double AP strat.
He's got an extra level on Yurik Mizuno. He actually popped his ultimate, singed it in the bottom lane, and it was for no good. He's just uselessly chasing Nintendo down there. In mid, they might try to fight off here. There's the bandage.
Here comes Gus to the Sad Mommy. They do catch onto a Shifter. The ultimate from Draven does catch onto him, and that will be Shifter going down very early on. But we're going to see the Requiem. That's going to be Cybolic dropping. Is he going to come out of the pool just at the right time? Zevez's now going to get down as well. XF Koso's going to get taken down very low. Don't Match Me should finish him off. It was indeed. And meanwhile, down there, here comes the Stan United. He got that kill, and it should be KCK. KCK just the last man standing. Now we see Yurik coming in. Yurik, you're going to be 4v1. What are you doing, man? Back away. KCK is going to avoid the damage from Zion Spartan here, but they just turn back to the mid turret.
And this is, again, them just relentless pressure. The 5th turret of the game coming down. Sure, Kisuke was able to avoid, but he's going to execute himself, meaning that push is going to continue. The death timer is just coming up now for Team TowerDive. They're probably going to get this inhibitor turret.
They are. They're going to get it down, and you can see it just burning down. Don't Match Me. No problem setting that on. They're just going to turn it towards Yurik. Bad timing there as Nintendo just simply taunts him out. Don't Match Me will go down here, I believe. Cybolic manages to take him down. He could clean up here. I am Anjo taking down very low. One more hit will be enough. Flashes for it. Does manage to catch it. So a double kill for Cybolic, but honestly, not worth it for an inhibitor turret going down.
Have to say, Yurik, even though he came in at that moment, it was probably the right call. He did manage to get them the 2 extra kills, and getting the damage and gold into Cybolic's hands for that Warmog's armor Vladimir is going to be very important. It's really key that he gets damage on Vladimir at this point, since he started with the very tanky route.
So, 9-6 in kills, 6-1 though in turrets. Still only a 4k gold difference, not that huge of a gap, still just over 10%, but honestly, the fact that that inhibitor turret is down is a huge deal for GGU right now.
And I want to point out here, the Sword of the Divine being completed onto Don't Match Me. So he's went with a full AD build, and the new unique active for Sword of the Divine is your next 3 attacks crit. The thing is, his ultimate applies critical strikes as well. So in a team fight, if they open up, you'll get 3 crits essentially on the entire team, which could be very important.
That would be a lot of damage if hit in the right place at the right time. And again, Nintendo continues to farm off. They're going to try and collapse on towards that top turret. Of course, Nintendo will have his Stan United available in around 30 seconds time, but I think Team TowerDive may pick themselves up a tower here. I don't think they're going to contest this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a very open field once this turret goes down, because that's 9 turrets over. But wow, Zion Spartan getting caught out. They might have to fall back.
They may have to fall back because the Sad Mommy comes out, and there is the Twitch ultimate. It has caught all the members. They're all in a perfect line. There's going to be the absolute 0. 0. That gets dropped out. Urik's getting caught out, but there's a lot of damage. GGU members here. The Shifter does get in time, and wow, they are just cleaning house. XZev comes in, but it's not going to be enough, and Zion Spawn baited out all of the damage and survived.
It ended up working out for him pretty generously at that point. I thought they would get caught out. Team TowerDive seemed like they had the edge, but they spent everything going in to get their AoEs off, that they had nothing to escape Good Game University's huge amounts of damage. And even before the game, we said GGU would need Team TowerDive to kind of decide to fight before GGU would be able to go in, because they don't have crowd control themselves, and they did it perfectly right there.
And yeah, and Don't Mash Me was just sat there with his ulti just running the whole time in the bush. No problem. They were in perfectly lined up position. And that often is actually the case when you have an Amumu, because everybody kind of follows in onto Amumu.
They have to.
Yeah.
That's the strategy.
It's like, you're going to get the... Okay, let everyone get it. Oh, wait a minute. We're all grouped up perfectly for this Twitch ulti that's just hitting us and critting us across the board. So, as it stands, 14-7 now. And that gold lead has just stretched itself immeasurably. And it is just shy of 6,000 gold. Shifter, of course, also in there with Defile running as well. Let's not underestimate that. He was catching them all out. I don't even think he didn't die in there either.
He died right at the end, I thought.
Yes, he did. Yes,
yeah.
the Amumu caught him off very much at the end. But it's going to be another dragon for Team TowerDive. I think there's a ping on Baron from GGU.
Not going to be able to get any of them. Team Dynamic, whoops, Team TowerDive was able to get that dragon again. Too many TDs and Ts coming in right here. But everyone on GGU really spread out right now. Just happy with that last team fight victory. And again, it's the huge amount of pressure and whether that's going to boil over, because the gold, since they're giving up all the dragons to Team TowerDive, is staying pretty close.
So Stand United is available should they require it. Zion Spartan's getting kind of caught out there. Nicely uses the ward to just shift across. Shunpo's over and just avoids all of the damage, baiting effectively the whole team. Look at that. If that's not bait, I don't know what is. I'm just going to blue pill right in front of you. Don't worry, there's nothing here, honest. But yeah, they just keep continue on. While this is all happening, they're keeping the Nintendo Dex taking this turret. He's going to get it. And
Nintendo Dex is becoming a huge problem. He's 8,500 gold, which is actually more than every member of Team TowerDive would have individually. And that's just... They're going to have to send at least one member, maybe two, to stop him, allowing GGU to do whatever they want.
He is. Nintendo Dex is just doing whatever he wants against XZev here. And he is just going to have to force away. Meanwhile, the top lane has a huge push coming out from GGU. And, well, Don't Mash Me with that Blood Boil. He's going to put a lot of damage down to his turret. You can see Nintendo Dex continue on there. The ulti from Draven is not going to be enough. Everybody just baiting it out. The damage continuing between the two teams, and they're just going to keep farming out this wave. And you can see the Bloodthirster just getting everything back.
Now with the Last Whisper as well, really, his sustained damage isn't going to be too high. It's all about the Twitch ultimate when Don't Mash Me presses that Sword of Divine Action button. That's really when the team fight is going to be decided for GGU, and whether those ultimate bullets hit on the right people.
Well, Yorick trying to force Nintendo away. And Mash Me and Co switch to the middle and going to put pressure on towards the middle Nexus turrets. Get that super minion wave to push in there. And yeah, you can see they're rotating down towards the bottom now. Nintendo's like, well, I've got a wave coming. Let's deal with this. Let's see if we can try and push something out of it. They want to say you're either going to be a 4v4 or you're going to be a 4v5. Either way, you're going to lose an inhibitor turret. You can see Nintendo, he's got a big wave in there, and Cybolics had to deal with it along with XZev.
I almost feel like this hasn't been getting them much, so GGU's going to go for Baron at this point. They have prep wards. You can see the pathway to Baron has been fairly well warded. They invested on the Oracles from Iamandra. They're going to see that ward right in the middle and get rid of that. And they're just going to take this down as low as they can, and Team TowerDive probably won't get there in time.
Yeah, you can see they're going to work it down, and well, that's going to be the ulti running from Don't Mash Me. Actually, was it the ulti? No, he didn't have the ulti going. It was just the standard Mafia gun noise coming out there. Meanwhile, in the top lane, they're still going back and forward, and they've just hit and run. The question is, can they collapse on towards Nintendo Dex? You can see he realizes what's going to happen, and well, the ulti of Yorick Mazzino is not enough. He can't pin down a Shen.
It's just not his day right now on Singed. He was stuck in a 1v2. That is not what Singed specializes in. They were never able to get him into an advantageous position. As soon as he was out of the lane, there was a super giant fed Shen from the jungle that he had to deal with. And he's been popping his ultimate, never really able to do anything. He comes in at the end of fights, when it's 4v1 and has to kind of walk away. It's just not his day.
So 6k gold lead, Baron buff on towards Good Game University, formerly Team Dynamic, which is why we keep saying TD. Despite the fact that it is a TDT, it is 14-7 and 7-3 in turrets. Those turrets really have paid dividends. The fact they got them down early has just given the whole map advantage, and now this effective split pushing between either Zion Spartan or Nintendo Dex, either one can just do the split push, seems to be working out very well for them. The inhibitor is about to respawn though, so I guess the mid lane will be the target.
And for the most part, Good Game University can't pick their own fights, so the way they've been able to win this game is they keep the pressure up everywhere, saying if you're going to let us do this, we're going to slowly take all your turrets and your inhibitors. We're forcing you to fight us right now. So anytime Team TowerDive has had a window to try and punish GGU, that's where they get their fights. And they've been able to execute in the team fights, as you can see, with 14-7 kills. And of course their split pushing strategy is working great. 7 turrets down already.
Okay, so everyone's just went back to buy for GGU, so let's go over the items that they've picked up so far.
The big giant fed man for them is Karthus, in all honesty. He's got 255 minion kills. I believe he is top gold. Yes, he is. He's almost at 11k. Next thing's going to be a Void Staff for him, but he's just sitting in the middle of any fight with a Defile. Then the interesting build is Don't Mash Me's, because he's got that Sword of the Divine. He's not building any crit, because when you activate it, you'll get the 3 crit, and then lose it pretty much there. So it's a one-shot 80 carry as opposed to your sustained 80 carry, and hopefully the Twitch and Karthus get everything low enough so that the Magic Pen-focused Zion Spartans Katarina will be able to go in and clean up.
Okay, here's a debate that I think they're probably trying to do. If Stan United is running in and Yurik gets the flip on him, how would that work out in a 4v4?
Still feel like GGU would be able to take it over, in all honesty. I think the Standing United would still be enough shield, and I think the damage from Karthus Katarina and Twitch would be more than enough.
As it is, you can see that inhibitor going down. Here goes Yurik. He wants to get in there. He does get a flip. He flips on towards Zion Spartan. The last person you really want to flip is actually going to get Karthus down, but you can see there's just too much damage across the board, and everybody gets dropped there, and the cleanup crew of Twitch and Katarina completely obliterating now. And well, that is it. That's the ace. That is going to be the game. Good Game University are going to be going through to day 2, and Team TowerDive, despite a resilient performance against Epic Gaming, are going to be going out of the Season 3 qualifiers, chat. What a great performance by GGU, though.
GGU, they have to be relieved right now. After losing that game to Fear, do or die for them. Win, you move on. Lose, you go home. You can see that Nintendo Dex just saying, Zion Spartan, thank you, we made it through. They're nervous after this, but they're through. Don't Match Me standing up, giving the high five to Nintendo. Good work by them. I have to say, they executed that team comp pretty perfectly, considering they got team fights without much initiation.
And not wild.